Salmonella is no laughing matter. Reality Recaps cares.
If you had to cast the show, would you cast Eric and I?
I wouldn't cast you.
Don't let the flamboyancy fool you. I can get dirty and jump off things and eat gross things and all that.
Yeah, no.
Hey everybody, Eric Herder here from YourRealityRecaps.com with an all-new Amazing Race weekly group recap show that we broadcast live every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel and in our Z-Box room. Now, during this show, myself and John Richardson are joined by a rotating panel of guests that get in depth with you on everything that you missed this past week during the Amazing Race. And we do this live while we take your questions and interact with all of you. Now, this is the edited version of the show with all the bells and whistles, but you guys should totally check out the live version sometimes too. And remember, if you guys are watching in YouTube or in a YouTube player, you can click on the buttons all around this video to jump to a specific thing you want to hear us talk about. Or check out that description below because we have chapter markers which let you jump to a specific topic you want to hear us talk about. Or skip over ones like this intro, but hey, why would you guys want to do that? And of course, all of our other links and show notes are down there as well too. Now, you should also know that you can take the audio-only or video version of this show with you to go on your favorite tablet or mobile device. Our iTunes and RSS feed links are, guess where? Down there below too. And if you're watching in YouTube or in a YouTube player, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps support the show, so just sharing it on your favorite social media websites, or if you're in iTunes, giving it a 5-star rating and a really nice review. Now look, make sure that you guys stick around to the end of the episode for all of our other special announcements, prize giveaways, and contest winners. But since we have so much Amazing Race to get to right now this week, we need to jump right into it, and you know the deal. You can follow me over at Twitter. I'm at Reality Recaps.
Hey everyone, it's John Richardson. So excited about our guests today. You can follow me at Twitter at ComedyJonah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to your Reality Recaps. It's nice to be here with Eric and John. Thank you guys for inviting me. Appreciate it.
But first, we just need to let everybody know, if you guys are watching right now on YouTube, up in that corner, you can leave your comments for Abba, any questions you have for us about this season of Amazing Race. Of course, thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps support the show. You can also see all of our live shows coming up for this week and the rest of the month over at YourRealityRecaps/live shows. And lastly, if you guys are doing your holiday shopping, do it on Amazon.com through the link on our homepage. You guys don't pay any more. We get a little bit back, and that also helps support the shows. And you know what, Abba? You can buy backpacks there. Backpacks.
Yeah, they sell passports there.
They sell passports.
I want an Abba passport cover. Is that something you're going to be working on?
Oh, that wouldn't be a bad piece of merchandising, right?
Right?
Yeah. Here's the weird thing that people don't realize is that I actually, right now, I have 3 valid passports, and at the time that this happened, actually, I had 2 valid passports. So it's kind of a special situation and be able to get a second passport, but I had one, and I had been in Russia about 2 or 3 months before that. We actually left on the race with a multiple exit Russian visa in the second passport. Unfortunately, I didn't have that with me, and I wasn't able to use it. So, but there's some weird irony to everything that happens, I guess.
Well, your floodgates are open. I believe you are allowed to talk about whatever you want now. So, if there is anything that you want to talk about during the course of this recap, definitely let us know. Let's just go over a little bit about last night's episode, and then we'll take some questions for you, and then you can unleash the floodgates. So first, ninjas or bunnies, what are we all thinking? Are we thinking they were ninjas or bunnies are Nicky and Kim? Oh, who I should also say, for those of you who will be watching the edited version, that interview is at the end of this, and wow. But okay, bunnies or ninjas? Go ahead, Mark.
I actually affectionately termed them the puppies after the bikini episode in Chile, and that sort of stuck all along. So to me, they're my little puppies, and I didn't think that they were probably going to win, but I did. I don't know. I liked them. I thought, especially Kim, there was something that was sort of kind of like nice, and even though there was a whole lot of hugging and kissing going on between the teams, and a little bit of crying. I don't know that I subscribed to that, but I gave them some leeway with that. And I'm kind of sad to see them go, because I did kind of enjoy. I like seeing teams that are real people that go through real fears, and these are real experiences. So when people do have issues jumping off of bridges or out of planes or eating, a cow's face or whatever, I think those are normal reactions, and I think that that's part of the reason why the show has the following that it does, because it brings that into your living room, that you don't have to eat the cow's face. So.
Well, thank God for that. What did you think at the start of the episode with these coins, where Amy kind of already had it figured out? I don't think a lot of fans are able to realize you guys have a lot of downtime. You can definitely have figured out that clue ahead of time. But I see a lot of people on Twitter saying there should be a penalty for Amy, that she didn't even pretend to use the coins. What do we think of that?
I didn't really follow that. I thought it was kind of anticlimactic, to be honest. I think what I've seen, especially in the last couple episodes, has been not so much the amazing race. I don't see the amazing part, going to the guy that climbed the tree for the clue. To me, you should have climbed the tree. So I didn't kind of get that outside of they're basically advertising the Ford has the keyless entry on there. So I don't know. I didn't pay much attention to it. I did laugh when I saw Jamal, though, do the face plant right after he got his clue at the pit start. They have not been one of my favorite teams, and but it's like, again, I appreciate that they won, and it's nothing personal, as you know. There's just certain teams that you have affection for, and other ones that you just don't relate to. So again, I kind of laughed at that, but in a nice way. I'm not bagging on the guy.
I do not understand this whole driving through the desert in a very Mario Kart type way to then go over to the tree to have somebody else do it. Both things seemed pointless. And I mean, maybe this is something that you can shed light on, Abba. Do they just do this to try and let people get ahead, or to, like, what is the point? Do you have any theory as to what the point is of just throwing in two useless, basically, tasks into the middle of this episode?
I really don't have any idea, and I think in this past season and even the one before it, they did more of that. Even they drove in the race cars in the last episode, and you're just sitting in the car. I don't know. That didn't seem like you did anything. And they've had this a bunch of times in the last two seasons, and that's, I want to see people, again, jumping out of planes, and I want to see the physical breakdown of teams. I want to see the mental breakdown. I want to see the emotional breakdown, because to me, in order to win this race, luck comes into it, but it shouldn't be that you can just sort of skate by under the radar the whole time and you don't actually do anything. I don't like that. I think, to me, you should prove that you are the fastest, smartest, best, strongest team, and luck obviously has something to do with it. For me, it was bad luck, whereas on my season, the Beekmans had good luck. But those guys did actually perform the tasks that we had, and although their ending was a little bit different than maybe most people ever foresaw, I think it was the right ending for what happened that season.
Definitely. I definitely think your season was kind of your season was one of my favorite seasons. No, I would say your season was my favorite season. I definitely, since your season, we've seen Sandcastle quitting, we've seen people that seem like they don't care at all, and people who are very aware of playing to the camera. Like a YouTube, like a Afghanimals, which is also a little annoying.
Yeah, and to me, that's not what the race is about. When I saw those guys quitting over Sandcastles and two firemen because it was too hot, it's like, you guys are supposed to be running into burning buildings. How hot could it be on a beach? There's an ocean. Go jump in it and cool off. Like, to me, I think all of those teams should have just been eliminated, and because to me, there's a respect for the game of how you play it, and I just didn't see it there. And then again, you got the other two doctors that weren't going to swim and they were going to quit. It's like, are you kidding me? Don't come on the show if you're not prepared that you're going to have to do something, that you may eat something you don't want to eat, do something whether you're scared of heights or bugs or snakes or whatever it may be. That's what the show to me is about. And if And it's no surprises, right? We're into the 23rd season now. It's not like the first time around you don't know what this show is made up of. If you're not willing to do that and you're going to cry because somebody made you run in the desert because it was hot out, too bad. Stay home. You know, that's the way I feel about it.
No,
I totally agree. And sorry for not answering your question right away, Eric. I think they're bunnies. But I thought it was really funny as they were swimming in the 6 feet high pool that they were like, "Come on, Ninja, you can do that. Come on." I think I totally agree with Abba. I think it's great when you see teams kind of conquer their fears, which I think is why one of the reasons why I really like seeing The Amazing Race, you know, especially like fear with heights and stuff. But I thought it was sad that the girls got U-turned, had a speed bump. I mean, what else could they have done to them besides trip them or, you know, those poor girls. I felt bad for them. But, you know, also, too, and the thing I didn't really understand is I agree with everyone. I don't understand what the tree climbing thing was. I mean, they sat there, ripped the clue open, watched them go up, or get the clue to come back down. Why? Well,
you guys...
stuff, you know?
Definitely. You guys comment below and let us know what you all think of all of that. I kind of liked that they were eliminated not to bury the lead, and I mean like it in the sense of I like that I had many choices to go with, like 3 strikes you're out, third time's not a charm. So like
you already had 2 passes already.
Right. They already had 2 passes already. But now let's talk about passes. The doctors, Nicole and Travis, having this express pass, good for them. They held on to it as long as they could use it. They had to use it this leg, and of course, they use it on Leo and Jamal the Afghanimals. Is that who, you know, you think was the smart choice, Abba?
You know, they were there first, and what a lot of people don't realize is that once you use the U-turn, you're not allowed to use it a second time. So the Garanimals, or the Afghanifools, as I call them, weren't able to use it. And so, you know what, if you didn't use it this time, then what's the point? So I kind of get it from a personal point of view. I don't think it was necessarily a good strategy because it didn't affect their gameplay so much. They could have left it for somebody in the back, or you take out Kim and Nicky, or you take out the Ice Princesses only because you know that essentially you're sealing their fate at that point. You know, you knew that those guys were not far behind you, so I don't know that strategically it was a good move, but I applaud them for making a personal stance to say you lied to us, we didn't like it, and this is the only way that we get to let you know, and that's exactly what they did. So, you know, sure, use it, I guess. That's what it's there for.
But so you think that they're probably like a threat, too? I mean, besides lying, they're also a good, strong team. And, you know what, let's knock them back a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that they are that strong of a team, to be honest. I mean, everybody on this time around has just made so many dumb mistakes to me. You know, even Marie being sort of a strong player, you saw it again in this episode. Just the dumb things that people do. And even the doctors, who, because they're doctors, you know, you figure that they're educated and they're a little bit more in tune to details and organized. But, you know, they started out the season just a complete mess. And it happens to people. It's very stressful. And throw in time differences and lack of sleep and food and weather and all that kind of stuff. These things happen. So, you know, I don't know. Those guys are just annoying to me because they've come out, and when you give yourself your own team name beforehand, it looks to me like you're there for not the purpose of winning. You're there to market something about yourself. And while I understand that that comes about as maybe a collateral effect of you being on the show, that 10 million people a week see you, people are going to come up to you and recognize you and ask for your autograph and pictures. And again, I love that. You know, it's been a wonderful experience for me to go through that. But you know what? That came about from being on the show. I didn't go on the show to get that. So to me, they're just trying too hard. They're pandering. They look like another team to me, whose name I don't say anymore. But they sort of look like a B- second coming of somebody you've already seen before.
Do you think that's what kind of switched maybe with casting, because now they're looking for maybe more couples that have something to advertise than just strictly strategic game?
You know, I'm not sure. The casting decisions I scratch my head about because I don't agree with a lot of them, but that's not my job. there is a TV show that has to be made here, so you have to understand that the cast has to be put together in a certain demographic way, where older people are represented, younger people, women, blondes, brunettes, ethnic groups, whatever. So I kind of get that, but like another team, I don't understand when you come on a show that you have to be an American citizen and have a U.S. passport, and you come out and you're just waving the flag of another country. And I'm not saying don't be proud of your heritage and where you come from, but what I'm saying is that really necessary? Is that really necessary as the marketing tool to set yourself apart? I don't agree with that. So that's probably what my gut reaction was to those guys. And it sort of stayed that way. They've been sneaky along the way. They've lied to people, you know, and that's just their gameplay. That's not the way I live my life. So I don't, you know, I understand the entertainment value, but I don't necessarily agree with the personal part.
Speaking of entertainment and casting, if you had to cast the show, would you cast Eric and I?
You know, on certain seasons, maybe. I can ask you a question. Do you think that you guys would actually win?
I know I would win. I would have to have Eric strapped to my back. He'd be half dead, half starving because he can't eat anything. I'd be just pouring water down his throat just to keep him hydrated, and I'd walk across the mat.
Well, that's it. I don't know that you guys are sort of, especially you, Eric, I'm not sure you're going to go through some of this stuff. So knowing that you wouldn't be willing to do that, I wouldn't cast you, only because I didn't think that you guys would actually be tough enough to get through it. But personality-wise, you know, you have a certain flair to the both of you, and that's why people watch your shows, because you're interesting and you bring it, you know, an enlightened view to things. Obviously, you're funny and entertaining. So from that point of view, yeah, I would. But from the point of view of you guys actually having to go do something tough, yeah, no.
Well, I installed roofing. I installed roofing for 5 years, so I don't let the flamboyancy fool you. I can get dirty and jump off things and eat gross things and all that. It's Eric who is the delicate flower.
You know, Big Brother, just sit in the backyard for 3 months.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Look, yeah, I was gonna say, Abba, I thought you watched the show. I've been very clear. You couldn't get me to go on Amazing Race if you paid me $1 million. I am quite literally. Yeah, nope, I'm fine right here, sitting down. I don't like heights. I don't like to eat things. I don't like physical challenges. Nope, I am so much more of a Big Brother person, which is why I agree with you. It annoys me when people go onto that show and are like, oh, we have to swim? Oh, we have to drive stick? Yeah, you do. You should know how to drive stick, swim, and get ready to eat a lot of really nasty shit if you're going on Amazing Race. I love Ryan and Abby, who told us how Abby was afraid of tight spaces and being in the dark, so he would throw her in the jacuzzi, close the lid on her, and make her dive for money. And she wasn't allowed out until, like, that was his way of training her. He was like, we're not playing this game. So yeah,
that's it. You know, it's when you get put on the show. To me, you should be going through these things. And if I didn't know how to swim, the first thing I would do was go find a pool somewhere. Go to the YMCA. They're free, right? Like, go do something. Go learn how to do this, because you don't want to be on national television making a complete fool out of yourself doing something for the first time. I had an issue with ice skating. I hadn't ice skated since I was about 6 or 7 years old. I had a bad experience at a birthday party, and I've never ice skated since then. And I just thought, you know what? If this comes up, this is not the gorilla that I want to have to peel off my back in front of everybody. And so that was one of the things that I wound up going out and doing, and I wound up ice skating. Just, you know, I mean, I'm not Eric Hyden or anything, but I don't have to be. I just had to basically get through this thing, and obviously we didn't ice skate on my season, but it was just one of those things that I did in my own preparation, and I don't understand how other people don't figure this out. You know, especially the physical part. Get in shape.
Well, I don't understand why people... Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off on that for 1 second, because I'm going to say, hey, everybody, just like Helen from Big Brother 15 2 days ago, now we have another fun game. I see everybody in the chat wants to know, guess the name of the team Abba won't say. So now we're not going to tell you. You can all just keep commenting below and guess. That could be the new fun game for this show. But... yeah, I don't understand why. Don't you guys have to put things that you're afraid of down when you're filling out your application? So I don't understand why people are actually putting their sincere fears and feelings down. I would say beds and fluffy pillows. I wouldn't say ice skating. I would do something that was a little more realistic. Like, I'm not claustrophobic, so I would say, oh, I'm claustrophobic.
I think what happens, though, when you're filling out the application and you're going through that process, you're probably overly honest because you're really scared that you're going to say something that isn't true. So you probably tend to share more than maybe you should, knowing why they're asking you this. At the same time, they ask you what skills you have. You know, have you ever surfed or whatever? And then if so, are you a good surfer? So if you were a champion surfer, you know, it's probably not the best thing to say that. Right. But I think that people do. And to kind of get around it, in my application, I remember they asked what my biggest fear was, and I said unicorns and gumdrops.
There you go.
And it was more just a humorous kind of thing to see if anybody was really paying attention to this or how serious it was being taken. I'm pretty lighthearted about it, so there were certain, you know, funny, like they asked what actor would play you in a movie, and I said Morgan Freeman. You know, just thinking, hey, I get some 70-year-old black guy to play me in a movie. Like, I just thought that was kind of ha-ha. You know, so, and who knows, maybe that was also part of what they saw in my personality or my profile, that there was a sense of humor here. It's serious, but it's kind of respectfully irreverent, if that's a pretty good way of, I think, how I approached it.
No, I think it is. I think that is brilliant. So let's move away from that for a moment and talk about the detour where we had the wedding guest, where you had to make the food, or beauty pageant, which was no toddlers and tiaras, but a close second, it was camels. It was dressing up camels. Go ahead, John.
There was just less makeup in that beauty pageant than the toddlers and tiaras.
Pretty much. So make sure that you guys comment below. Let us know what you would have done, the wedding guest or the camel, the pageant. Abba, what was it like for you? Did you ever struggle picking which side of a challenge or which side of a roadblock to do? Or was it always very clear for you every time you got your clue, okay, I'm going to definitely be better in this? I know they try and trick you guys, but do you ever feel like you ever struggled in making your decision?
No, not really. You know, even like we kind of thought, you know, I mean, you go through what your team skills are, and maybe somebody, you know, likes to swim better. So if you kind of guess that you're getting that challenge, you tend to go, you know, you take it as opposed to your partner. Now, we were actually, you know, we were very decisive in our decision making. We might have taken a fraction of a second longer than some of the other teams, and I think that's probably just maturity, but that's the way that James and I worked. We've made a lot of decisions like this in the past, and it was just, well, what do you want to do? And he would say it, and if I didn't agree with him, well, this was my reasoning, this was his reasoning, and it was very quick, it was very deliberate. So, no, we never really came across something like that. You know, things like the animals are really unpredictable. So, to me, you know, mentally, I'd say stay the heck away from animals. I don't want to lose $1 million because of a camel or a goat or whatever. You know, they've had yaks in Mongolia, you know, and so they're a little rougher. I think I would have probably taken the food challenge on this one just because, although it looked like they were there for quite a long time, I don't think I would have wanted to have dealt with the animal personality. Now, that said, to me, they just point out the camel and somebody else wrangled the camel. It was like, what was the point of that? You go in there and get your ass kicked by a camel and pull the one out. That's a little bit more exciting to me and entertaining. You know, I understand it from a safety point of view, and I was kind of happy that 2 of them got kicked just to make it sort of real. But, you know, I didn't really see that either. I didn't see the value or what the excitement was out of that. So I think they could have done something more. Milk the camel and drink the milk, which they actually did once before. That was cool.
Even the wedding challenge. I mean, okay, we can all dice an onion. We can all dice peppers. Why can't they cook it? Why couldn't they stirred it and cooked it and presented it on the platter? They sat there and complained, oh, here come the waterworks because I'm chopping an onion. Boring. I agree with you, Abba.
You know what would have been the best part of that challenge? If after they made them cut up the chicken in the desert heat with their bare hands, then they made them lick each other's hands. That was cool.
Salmonella is no laughing matter. Reality Recaps cares.
Hey,
yeah.
You hear the line of the night though with Marie saying that I bet you wish you had a muzzle for me like this, and I think half of America probably raised their hand.
See,
you know?
And it's those times I like Marie for like a split second. And then she starts running saying, yeah, you should have shut your big mouth. There's the tower. You know, I flip-flop back and forth. But, yeah, it's funny when, yeah, America wants a muzzle. I want a muzzle on her.
I don't. I like her. You know, coming from Jersey, I know 100 girls that are just like her. And if you really listen to what she says, now granted, she's missing some of the nice ways to say things, but when you listen to what she said, she's never said anything that hasn't been inaccurate. She's just chosen the wrong words or the wrong presentation. So I'm familiar with that kind of personality, and I like her. I don't agree with, again, the way she's presenting on some of this, but, you know, that's part of the personality and why people are responding to her.
But don't guys like a little refinement in a girl? I mean, it's one thing to be outspoken and say, like with the one team, do I want to have drinks with them or do I want to win the race, $1 million? Stuff like that's really funny. But when she's like, you know, constantly verbally castrating her partner on television, it's not very sexy.
No, but you know what? I'm not bringing her home to my mother either. So, I mean, I'm watching her on TV, and for that, she's entertaining. Now, do I think it might be a little degrading to what, you know, I don't even know the boyfriend's name because I usually refer to him as Marie and her girlfriend. But Tim, you know, it's like, to me, I would be a little bummed for him because this doesn't make him look very manly and tough and macho, where she's coming across as this strong, aggressive, confident woman. You wouldn't expect this marshmallow of a guy, and he may not really be like that. At the same time, if that's not really her boyfriend, you know...
Well, they're exes. They're exes.
So they say. I mean,
yeah,
you know...
Are they?
You know, and in the beginning, too, I thought it was kind of interesting because as an ex's relationship, you don't give a crap how you respond to the partner. You don't care anymore because you don't have to go home with them at the end of the race. So, you know, and I think she's probably pandering to the camera a little bit because she thinks that this makes her look tough and cool and not really caring so much that it doesn't reflect probably very positively on him. I mean, I'd hate to be with him and his buddies when he goes home and they're all busting his balls about not having any, you know? So.
Well, I think to kind of wrap this up, so Marie's not the girl you take home to mom, but maybe to a hotel.
I have drinks with her.
That's all you, John. Because I like Abba. I love me some Marie, and I definitely think she is great entertainment value, just like you said, and I think she is the difference between somebody like the Afghanimals or YouTube, who it's clear they're doing everything just for the cameras. I think she's definitely playing to the cameras, but she does it in like a sincere, authentic way, almost like, this is me, I'm putting it all out there for the cameras type of voice. I just like her. I think she's hysterical, and I agree. I think she makes great television. I loved them getting lost, her threatening to punch Tim in the face because it's not where she said to go right in the beginning. But then we see she gets to that U-turn, and they U-turn Nicky and Kim, which is pretty much the beginning of the end for our Nicky and Kim. I also did like him getting kicked by that camel. It was a little douchey about it. Get a watermelon in the face and get back to us. He's like, oh, I got kicked by a camel.
Well, he's getting verbally thrashed by Marie and then gets kicked by the camel. So the beauty contestant, his ex, he's just getting tossed and kicked around.
She was pretty mellow last night. You know, at least for the first half of the episode, I thought, you know, she just looked like she was pretty mellow. And, you know, that's that Jersey, like, East Coast brutality of honesty. You don't have time. The life is too fast there to make up bullshit stories like you do in L.A. about everything. Right. So you look lovely, darling. Let's have, you know, lunch. Here it's like, you're ugly and your nose is big and I don't like your sister. And then you're kind of like, okay, cool. And that's how we build respect there. And so I think she's aware that the cameras are there, and I think she's playing up to them at certain times, but I also think she probably has a I don't give a attitude about the whole thing, and I think that's why she seems more real than the Garanimals, who they look like they're, you know, it's an audition for a TV show, and you know, it doesn't, I think we all kind of get the difference. One looks like she's being real, and the other two don't.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. So moving on this episode, we push right to Roblox, right? Yeah, Roblox was the Wadi whitewater rafting. Again, they don't have to do anything.
No, you're sitting in a boat with a guide. in a water park. So I mean, come on.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. You'll be if they ever do All Stars again and they have you back. I think you guys have like smooth sailing because all these other seasons, all these other casts are just like they had everything done for them.
Are you going to root for us this time? No, or what?
Oh, you know that I will. So speed bump, Nicky and Kim. After they get U-turned by Tim and Marie, they end up doing both sides of the challenge. Although I thought it was very interesting that almost maybe production was like, screw this, because Nicky and Kim were like, oh, we did it in 2 seconds. Why? Because we're good at it. That was the whole answer. They're good at it. They went through that, get over to their speed bump, have to jump in the 6-foot wave pool, swim across it. Yes, it was very endearing to see them triumph over all of their fears. But eventually, they're out. They're out. Nicky and Kim, gone off the race. That said, I mean, I think you kind of have said it, but what is your thoughts on this season as a whole so far, and who are you wanting to win, Abba?
Kind of rough, It's I was a huge fan of the show, and after coming off of it last season, it's a hard transition. People don't realize they think you're on a TV show, but this affects yourself, your family, your life, and you go through these weird stages that, as you're going through the auditioning process, you can't say anything to anybody. So you're preparing yourself, but you have nobody really to talk to about how do you prepare this, and you're trying to prepare if you have a family and kids and all that kind of stuff. That this is what's going to happen. Then you come home and you've done this incredible thing, and you want to tell people, "Oh my God, I jumped out of a plane! I rappelled off of this or whatever," and you can't. So you go through this silence of several months before it airs. Now, when it airs, we don't see it until you see it. So every Sunday night when this airs, your whole life changes, and Sunday night you start getting hit with all this stuff online and people calling you, and Monday morning, and this happens week after week after week. And so you know what you did and what you said, but you don't know what everybody else did and said about you. Like the long hair don't care comment that happened with us. They put that up on the TV guide beforehand. So obviously I know it has something to do about us. I know what we did during the episode, but I certainly didn't think it was, I had no idea what that was, and everybody sees it, and everybody's calling, what's that? What did you do? What happened? So all this stuff is very kind of weird. And then going through it afterwards, it's almost like, when you work in a sausage factory, you may not want to eat sausage again because you know kind of how some of it is made. And I was fortunate the last time that Beth and Mona, the roller moms, lived here locally, and they were kind enough to sort of, I had somebody else to watch the season with, so that was a good transition for me. And this time around, I got to be honest, I really didn't care for much of any of them. I liked Tim and Danny, the Oklahoma oil rigger guys, because I just thought that they looked like two really good dudes, At the same time, I just didn't see them winning it because that's that demographic part. I did like the bearded guys at first just because they seemed kind of wacky. Obviously, people related them to us, and but then again, I heard their comments, so you know what, they suck even more than we do. And you're right, you're not a Megadeth, and no. So I think it changes. At this point now, who am I rooting for? I kind of like Jason and Amy in the beginning. Over time, I've kind of gotten annoyed with her. The Garanimals I never really related to. Marie I kind of like for a certain extent. The Doctors I liked in the beginning, and then Nicole just seemed like she kind of got cranky and ornery a little bit to me. I didn't like Nicky and Kim in the beginning, but as time went by, I started to like them. And right now the Ice Queens, they're just sort of skating by, not to use a pun, but can they win? I don't think so, but while they're around, I guess I'll root for them just because I'm not feeling it really from anybody else.
Because they're pretty.
Yeah, well.
I like the Ice Queens. I definitely like the Ice Queens. We have a question from John W. In our YouTube room who wants to know, what do you think of Phil?
Hi, John. Well, that's an interesting question. We get to have some interaction with Phil. We had some airport time, but to some extent for the show, he kind of stays away from getting too personal with them. I think he does a great job at he's defined what his personality is on this show. I think this season he got a little hokey, though. You know, spraying the guys with the champagne. I didn't like that. You know, and I've seen this with Jeff Probst on Survivor as well. He's become more and more a part of the show, and I don't know if Phil is sort of doing this a little bit more, where he's talking to him and joking with them. That was not the experience that I had with him, at least on camera. So, you know, I mean, he's part of the show. Obviously, he does a lot to define it. I think he's done a great job at doing that. I got to see him here in Denver a couple weeks ago in person, and you know, that was kind of funny because he did know I was coming, and I think I caught off guard. But nice enough guy.
Dana G in the room wants to know, where do you go, if you can say, after you are eliminated during a leg of the race?
Right. Hi, Dana. After you're eliminated, you wind up going to a location that moves around. That's called sequester. And so what they normally have there is some kind of compounding, obviously with housing and food and that, because you can't go away and then, you know, you're eliminated first and go home 3 days after you left, or the whole neighborhood knows that you didn't win. So when you commit to this, you're gone for the whole time, and they take you to another location, sequester, and all the teams that are eliminated get to go there. I I never went there because of my situation in Russia. And it moves around. I guess geographically they make it so that it's most practical that they can get the people in and out, and it's probably a good cost efficiency kind of thing as well. So that's what happens to you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What are your thoughts on All-Stars? I know there's a lot of rumors. We can't confirm or deny anything, but would you like to see an All-Stars being the next season? If it could, like, who would you want to see on it if like next season was All-Stars?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, there's two different things here. An all-star version to me is a little bit different. I think there are definitely teams that are all-stars. I think the snowboarders were all-stars to me. I thought Brooke and Claire were all-stars to me. You know, even the Chippendales, I think, were all-stars to me. I'd like to think that James and myself were all-stars. You know, so there's certain teams that I think stand out. They've also done this second chance kind of show. And, I mean, to me, if they have that show, I don't see how anybody on the history of this show, besides James and myself, ever deserved more of a second chance. Because, you know, we got eliminated but never beaten by another team. We got taken out by somebody who was not part of the race, and I understand that circumstances happen, and to me that's what that show is designed and defined to correct for people that had things happen to them that were out of their control. And so I don't see that they can ever have that show without putting James and myself on there. But that said, I don't know. You know, it's not my decision. I guess it's casting. I guess it's, you know, the demographics of how these decisions are made. I'm not privy to, obviously, but, yeah, if I was ever asked to go back, I'd run to the airport naked right now, grab my passport first, and I mean, I wouldn't even pack. I wouldn't care. Because to me personally, there's a redemption that needs to be done here. Something is not finished for me. I don't want to say vengeance, but you know, there's this justice thing that just still is in me, and it's been somewhat hard to deal with personally because I really thought that we deserved to win. I thought we were the best team out there, and we never really got a chance to totally compete the way that we wanted to. So I guess it's like an athlete getting injured or whatever, and you know, you think one thing about yourself and you never get that chance to show it. And you know, I'm really fortunate that we had the first opportunity, but I want to know in my own heart, did I have what it took to win that? And at this point now, I don't know that answer.
Well, I know that we definitely want to see you again, and so do the fans, but Dana G has a question, and her question is, how long did it take for you to get out of Russia?
Good question. We actually we'd spent the 2 days there, and it took us another 6 days. What happened was that the Russian national holiday, like their 4th of July, Independence Day, had happened on a Tuesday, and this all happened on a Friday and Saturday. So they had closed down the entire government for that week. Had it been a different week, it might have been a different situation. We might have been able to get out of there, but we were there on a weekend. We were there on a national holiday. I got the U.S. passport very quickly from the U.S. Embassy, but what people don't realize is that you have to have another exit visa, and that comes from the Russian side. And the Russian government is just very different culturally than us. Everything is by the book. You have to have 37 pieces of paper signed in the right ink in the right order. And so it took us an extra 6 days to get out of there. I wound up having a letter of diplomatic immunity declared for me, and that was how the visa was ultimately was cleared. And James and I made it back really right in the nick of time the same day of the finale. So we were fortunate that we made it back for the final show, which I guess was kind of nice as opposed to being stuck, because if the letter of immunity didn't come through, it would have taken about 28 days to clear that visa. And the race moved on. Because they're moving. The whole production is moving. So we did not have the full staff of the race with us the whole time. It was basically up to myself and James and our ingenuity. And I had been to Russia before this and had cleared work visas. So if it had happened to somebody, I was probably the best one that it happened to, because I had had experience dealing with this bureaucracy of their just cultural, government.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's frightening. I don't know that I would ever do that.
Ridiculous amounts of vodka, because I actually
now we're talking.
This is what happened. I mean, I broke both legs on the race, which I didn't know until I came home, and I was 6 months after I was still dealing in physical therapy and stuff, so I couldn't really walk around very much, and we didn't have painkillers, but vodka is cheap there, and it was just I said to James, look, if we had won the leg, we would have won a trip for two somewhere for a week, right? And I just said, you know what? Let's just call this our win. Me and you we got sent to Russia for a week, and obviously they took care of us. We're in a very nice hotel, and the food and all that was paid for, and so we had a little bit of freedom, and because we were just with one other person from the race, it was nice, and that was a nice transition for us to kind of get this out, and but it was just complete annihilation on great Russian vodka. So. Thank you for that. Spasiba, Moscow, for your vodka.
So we've got Kim G in our room, and she says, how hard is it to decide what challenge to do? How much info are you given?
Good question.
That's great.
Not much. When you get the roadblock, you're usually asked a question, who wants to do something? And so you're trying to read into the question, you're trying to look around where you are and to figure out what it is that it might be. When you have the detour, it's a little bit more detailed sometimes, where it might be explained to you enough that you kind of have to make a decision. Like we did one in Indonesia, and it was walk around with the big lion heads within the parade, and the other one was fry an egg on your head. So it was, you're kind of sitting there going, well, I fry an egg on my head, and catch fire, is this safe, what's going on? So it's just enough to kind of keep you confused, and I think that's where that decision comes from, because you're like, which one is the lesser of two evils, or which one is the bigger risk? Because you just don't want to get caught up. So that one with the egg, we actually thought about doing it, but you had to ride a bike to go pick up the egg somewhere, and we thought that's 2 locations to get lost, so let's go with the other one. And that was how that decision was made. We thought it was probably an easier challenge, but because we had to find 2 locations, we thought that was probably, it created a risk. So you make the decision pretty quickly on the fly, because you have to. You've got cameras in your face, and everyone is running right along next to you. So a lot of times you see a group, and they may be running off to the left, and one person runs to the right. Guess what? You're better off staying with that group, and they make the decision for you. So it happens that way sometimes too.
I love finally getting to hear it directly from you. So now
I know.
Now that being said, we know that we need to wrap it up. So, is there any final thoughts? Anything that you want to put out there? Anything you need to get off your chest? The floor is totally yours. You can have the final word.
Know what? I just think it's been a wonderful experience that I've had the ability to do this. I've met a whole lot of people, not just from the past races, but from Survivor and Big Brother and all these other TV shows. We do a lot of really nice work that raises money for charities, and I think there's a lot of good people that are involved in this. It's been an honor to be part of it. I love the fact that people recognize me, and go out of their way to say hello. I mean, I'd love taking pictures with anybody. I'm super approachable. If you've got questions, you ever see me, come up. I mean, this was a gift that was given to me, and you know what? Help me unwrap it, because it's like an onion. It just keeps kind of coming back. And, you know, as far as the future of the show, you know what? It's out of my hands at this point. Again, I'll leave it in God's hands if I ever come back or not. I sure hope so, because I feel like there's some more of us that you guys need to see publicly. And, hey, you know what? Go to CBS and let them know, and keep being supportive of us and the other teams that you like on, you know, Twitter and Facebook and all those kind of things. And, you know, again, appreciate it all, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I thank all the people who watch these shows for helping to make that experience as amazing as it is for me. Thank you.
Well, absolutely, and everyone in the room, not just asking questions, but a lot of the comments, Abba, you've got some big fans out there. Everyone's heart was broken. Everyone was upset when you left the race, so you have a lot of support out there. So,
well, that's nice to hear, and thank you for that support. You know what? I'm on, you know, MySpace. If you guys want to go on there, and not MySpace.
I'm sorry. What?
Hello, welcome to the 80s. Right? Yeah.
Are you in a time machine?
No, I'm not on Twitter, just because, you know, I have a life and a job, and I don't have the time to be able to kind of service this. But I'm on Facebook. I might actually have a MySpace page somewhere out there that I from music.
I think I do too.
You know what? And again, say hi, and you know, I love the contact with people. If anybody has questions or whatever, I'm always happy to do my best to answer them. And you know, thank you.
Okay, so the links will be below in the edited version. You can follow him over there, keep up with everything that he's doing. We love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you guys can all stay tuned, because right after this, we're going to have the exit interviews with Nicky and Kim. So until, what are we doing next? Bravo recap tomorrow, Survivor on Thursday, Reality Check on Saturday with Gina Marie, probably debuting her song. So much more stuff for you guys coming up this week. YourRealityRecaps.com/live shows for the whole schedule. That is it. Follow us on Twitter, and we will tell you what he's saying during The Amazing Race, or follow him on Facebook. Actually, no, why don't I tell everybody how they placed first? We had Nicole and Travis in first, Jason and Amy in second, Tim and Marie in third, Leo and Jamal in fourth, Allie and Ashley in fifth, and Nicky and Kim eliminated from the race.
Hi, Eric.
Hey, Nicky. Hey, Kim. How are my ladies doing?
Oh, you're so cute. we're rocking it over here.
Yeah,
You're
are we?
The most positive person, like most positive interviewer ever.
Oh, well, I want to know if I'm getting bunnies or ninjas first.
Oh, we're getting bunnies.
Bunnies. All right, good. Well, then, you know, I have to ask, you guys seemed kind of okay with your elimination. So is that just because you were kind of used to it by then, or, you know, what was going through your minds?
No, we wanted to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point, all the teams were calling us the bunnies with 9 lives. So we kind of were managing our expectations at that point, and knew that maybe the end was kind of near, although we didn't want it to be near. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, they didn't show it, but there was so much driving time in between all of the tasks on that episode that by the time that we got to the mat, we kind of knew we were in last place for like over an hour. So all of that drama kind of had settled in already.
Right. Well, you know, was it hard though on that leg of the race? I mean, what were you guys feeling as you first found out that you were U-turned, and then knowing you still had to do a speed bump? Did you feel like, you know, it was probably the hardest leg for you guys to go into?
Yeah, I mean,
it was really long.
Yeah.
It was so long. And I mean, driving in a foreign country with no GPS, like, it sounds hard, but it's even way harder than that. So there's just so many challenges throughout the day. And then when we saw the U-turn, we were just like, oh man. And then we knew we had the speed bump. I mean, I think once we got U-turned, we kind of knew. And we knew that we were the last people at that roadblock. So we kind of knew we were
There's a huge language barrier too. A lot of people spoke English, but a lot of people didn't. So there's a huge language barrier. So you couldn't get directions, and people were giving us wrong directions. And it's just like one of those things that like Nicky was doing a great job driving, but it was like the roads were so confusing. It was just like, okay, like we're probably going home. And if we get another non-elimination, Marie's going to eat us anyway, so we're done either way.
All right, you know what? Why don't we just jump right to a fan question then, since you said that. It's from Daniel over on Twitter, Daniel Teppe, I believe, and he said, did you ladies ever try and rekindle your friendship with Tim and Marie during the race? And if so, do you think that could have helped?
We did. You know, we tried profusely to explain to them what happened, that we really were first and that we didn't just go up there and try to weasel our way in. And we tried really hard to, you know, get on their good side and make them understand, like, we like you guys. We just, you know, we felt we made a smart strategic move, and that's why we did that. We weren't trying to go behind your backs or do anything illegal or cheat. And, you know, they never saw it from our perspective. They felt like what we did at the airport, getting on standby before them, was not okay. And so I think once they saw the episode and they saw fans react and everybody else was like, okay, what they did was actually like smart, or maybe just like expected, fair, something you would do in the race, like a totally fair game. Maybe they think so differently. They haven't ever been like, oh wow, sorry. They've never apologized, but we were still nice to them. We weren't going to be mean. We had no animosity towards them, and I still don't. I text Marie, and we joke around, and she's funny. She's a funny girl. You know, she's got a lot of good in her too. I know people see the bad in her, but I think she's got a lot of good to offer.
Yeah, I think she's great. I think she's funny, but I think perhaps in the airport, the word that she was looking for would be jealous that she didn't think to do it first. Mm-hmm. I think that might be what it...
Throughout the show, I mean, that's like the hard part is that everyone, you know, like, they say, oh, doing that isn't fair, and doing that, and I'm like, yeah, but if I had thought of that, I probably would have done it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, sometimes really the word is, I actually didn't think of that, and it's probably a smart move. But at the time, they're just like angry that they didn't. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard to figure it out, really.
Well, aside from that, is there anything that either of you feel like you could have done differently to help push you further along in the race?
I think just, I don't know. Looking back, it's like there's so many things we would have done differently. A lot of it came down to just, you know, taking a little bit more time and reading directions, or, you know, and it's just things that I think if we went back for All Stars, we'd be a lot more smart. But it's just one of those things that you have to go through to figure out. I don't know.
So we
probably wouldn't have packed so much stuff personally.
Yeah, if I went back, I would bring like
those backpacks is impossible. Throughout the race, whenever we were able to stay at any sort of hotel room or hit a rest spot, we pretty much dumped half of our backpack out. So I think if we did have the opportunity again, it'd be pack light.
Pack light. Well, so you would do it again if asked back.
Without a doubt.
All right, well, that's good to know. Here is another fan question from Dana Goodyear over on Twitter, who says, how hard was it for you ladies to decide which challenge to do when you would get to, say, a detour, or, you know, where you had to pick between two different tasks?
Well, we're both a little indecisive.
That's actually a good question.
Nicky, we kind of just like, it was basically like throwing it to the wind.
Really?
Yeah, I think basically what we do is like,
we don't quote that.
When we opened up the crew, it would be like, we would just hope that one of us had a strong inkling towards one of the, you know, roadblocks or detours. Actually, no, roadblocks. So yeah, like I know, for example, the dancing one, or the, you know, collecting money when we were in Poland. I knew like right off the bat, I'm like, we can collect that money fast.
And you were
chose that one. But then, like, you know, you make bad decisions too. Like this last episode, you know, I guess we had to do both either way, but definitely the camel one was easier. And sometimes it's just you really don't know.
Yeah, like the cod one, the fish one was so, like in Norway, we definitely picked the harder one for sure, which took like probably an hour longer, and it was so hard. And then I think we would be so determined to finish that we wouldn't want to switch.
Right. It's interesting. I mean, I definitely remember reading your bios in the beginning of the season, so I would have thought that you, I believe, Kim, would have been pushing. You're the Tanaholic, right? Or is it
No,
Nikki's?
That's Nicky.
Okay, it's
That's
Nicky.
Nicky.
It's Nicky. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about doing the challenges and not wanting to switch. What was your feelings about the Afghanimals in the race and seeing them purposely trying to manipulate you a little bit on the wedding task in this last episode? I feel like the teams that we've been talking to either love them or hate them. So where are you falling on the loving or hating Leo and Jamal?
I like, this is Kim Becking, I like Leo and Jamal. I think their strategy was just like, let's just trick everybody, you know, and it's just not, they just had no desire to be honest ever with anybody. And they sometimes were, and they sometimes weren't. So it was hard. Once someone lies to you once, you never know if you can trust them. I think now, outside the race, they're great. But I think it's just one of those things that I didn't trust them at the time. And it wasn't that I didn't like them. It was just that I didn't trust the things that would come out of their mouth.
And I agree with you on that. I think, you know, even when we asked them how long that roadblock was, immediately Kim was like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, you kind of have a feeling for people. I think that's just the way they chose to race, and I don't think that is how they are in any other circumstance outside of the race. But I think from the very beginning, we kind of knew that.
Well, who are both of you rooting for to win now that you're out of it?
That's a good question. You know, we'd like to root for the Ice Girls because it's the only all-girls team. And they were sweet. Jason and Amy were cool too. I mean, honestly, like the way Kim and I raced, we kind of like stuck to ourselves a little bit, which I didn't think we thought we were going to do at the beginning. But yeah, so we kind of, you know, we liked everyone, and we kind of just, you know, every time we knew that someone got eliminated, it was pretty exciting to figure out who, because I think they were all really good competitors.
Right, definitely. Did you?
Yeah, we really did like everybody.
Okay, well then that's good. Then we can check off who did you like the least. Who would you say that you like the best then? So you would say it would be the I want to say Ice Queens or the.
Well, we got along really well with the football players. We kind of bonded with them right from the beginning. But they got eliminated so fast, and then we really liked Oklahoma and the Bears, but they got eliminated too. So it was kind of like all the people that we'd built like alliances with were off. Right.
And then there was no getting back in with Marie.
And then Maria, no, like we tried to get back on that side, and she was like, we offered her money.
No, you didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. What is the best thing that you guys took away from this race? Like, is there any one moment? Do you have like a favorite challenge? Is there something that you'll never forget ever from this experience?
I'll never forget. I mean, personally, the cod experience in Norway is something that I think about and I start hysterically laughing. Because us walking with those fish and just the comments that were coming out of Kim's mouth was hysterical. And we were just, I literally thought I broke my neck. And I had like 50 mosquito bites on my back, on my face. And I was just miserable. And Kim just kept me laughing the entire time. So I think that, I mean, that's like the great part of the race. I mean, they showed so many clips where like you're intensely in these like tasks, and you are, but there's so many things in between that are just absolutely hysterical.
I think for me,
yeah, go ahead.
I think for me, like I'm kind of like I'm not super girly, but I like to get ready and feel cute, and it was one of those things where I pretty much got used to looking like a dog for a month, and it was one of those things where I embraced the dog, woof woof, but I feel like I really did face a lot of fears, and I feel not just fears heights and stuff, but fears being away from my kid, fears, putting yourself out there and just, and there was just so many fears I faced, and then the crazy ones like the heights and all that stuff. And I just honestly feel after doing that, there's nothing I can't do. I never would have thought I could. I'm not a very strong person physically, and now I feel yeah, if I trained, I could do anything. There's literally anything in this world that I feel if someone else, another girl could do it, maybe not a Olympics or something, but I feel I could do anything.
Yeah, I think that definitely came across. I think that was very much the edit of the episode for, both of you last night, was that you overcame a lot and triumphed over things you didn't think you could do. Well, both of you have a ton of fans, and I know that your fans want to know how they can keep in touch with you. So where can they find you online? Are you ladies on Twitter or Facebook, or how can they get in touch with you?
We're both on Twitter, and we it's been so fun, reading the comments from fans and all the awesome feedback we got last night. So we hope to still keep in touch.
Well, tell us your Twitters so that everybody can hear it directly from you, and we'll put them up for everybody too. You guys, tell everybody your Twitters.
Great. Mine's Kim DeJesus 9.
Okay.
And mine's Nicky Getz, Nicky.
All right, there you go, everybody. So what is I know that you ladies need to go, so what is the last thing you want to leave all your fans with?
I think we should just say, if there's anything you want to do in the world, you should go do it, and do it with a positive attitude and a smile and lots of hugs, and always try to be a bunny.
Always be a bunny. All right, there you go, everybody.
Don't try to be a ninja.
All right. There you go. You have it. Nicky and Kim, thank you both so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey everybody, Eric Herder here from YourRealityRecaps.com to answer, what's this channel all about? It's about, what is that about? No, of course I know what this channel's about. We're all about the funny. We try and make all of our shows have some sort of a comedic twist to them. And we're always covering your favorite reality shows, like Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race, and even your favorite Bravo shows. But make sure you check out YourRealityRecap.com. I can't even say the way in my own website. I also do comedic video mashups of shows where I take everything that happened from the episode and mash it up into some ridiculous story that actually didn't really happen. I also host weekly group discussion panels where me, my friends, and reality stars all get together to discuss what's happened the previous week on your favorite reality show, so you're all caught up heading into next week's show. Ooh, and I have a dog who's like my best friend. Say hi to everybody. Hi. Don't stick your tongue out at them. They're over there.
Like I give a sh.
What? Leave being a dick to me. Okay, don't mess up my makeup. Subscribe or I'm gonna kick my nose. Ooh, and I almost forgot. We do live shows right here on this YouTube channel, where the reality stars and our panel in our weekly group recaps take your questions and answer them, hey, live on air. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of those. And do us a favor, give us a thumbs up too, because it really helps support the show. Oh, and we tell it like it is. We do not hold any punches. Well, behind people's backs anyway. Oh, of course she's coming back. She spent all the money, if you know what I'm talking about. But let me let you in on a little secret. Aside from our live shows, we're also live at special events like the Big Brother premiere party, the Survivor finale, and even the Amazing Race premiere and finales. We're bringing you guys exclusive content up close and personal with your favorite reality TV stars that you are not going to get anywhere else. So, hello, have you subscribed yet? Do it! Do it now! Apparently they want me to kick you. Have you subscribed yet? I'm gonna kick you. Have you? No? Yes? What? Do it. Now. Go. And we get it, you might not have time to watch the full shows right now in YouTube. It's why we offer the audio-only or podcast version, as well as a video-only version available in iTunes or your favorite RSS player, so you can always take the shows with you to go. You're welcome! I'm not kicking any dogs. I might kick a baby though. Oh, and we do all of these shows for you fans, so make sure you interact with us on your favorite social media websites. We're on all of them. You can find us on them by simply going to yourrealityrecaps.com / the name of the website you're looking for. So /Pinterest /Tumblr / you get the point. And leave your questions, comments, and suggestions because you never know what's gonna make a show. Of course, everything that we talk about in this video and all of our shows can be found over at yourrealityrecaps.com. It's the home base for everything that we do. So make sure you go check that out and click around it. Click, click. This is me clicking. Click, 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 click. So what are you guys gonna do for me? You're gonna subscribe to this channel and thumbs it up. And thumbs it up. Is thumbs it up a word? Look, I'm waiting. Go. Still haven't done it yet. Subscribe. If you're watching this, you couldn't have done it. So go subscribe. Subscribe now. And thumbs up. You can thumbs up without leaving the video, but you can't subscribe. Or maybe you can. I don't know. I'm not really sure. You think I know these things, but I don't. Hey, go subscribe. Anybody got a baby? Alright, see you guys all in the next video. Bye for now.
Let's play a little game. Toot your horn if you're a super douche. Toot! Toot! Exactly.